guys, I'm Keturah King, and today we'll be exploring a veritable cornucopia of Nigerian cuisine. Let's get to it. So first up, we have the delightful Akara. Now this is one of my favorite breakfasts, or snacks if you will. Now Akara is made from beans. It is, I think the English version would be called a bean fritter, and it's a popular street food. So it's one of those things that we purchase on the side of the roads. What I like to do is to dip it in some hot sauce, which we call obe ata, and then eat it with the bread. This is local Nigerian bread and it's called agege bread. And it's a very, very dense, compact bread, almost reminiscent of perhaps a French brioche, but a lot more tasty, obviously. Let us sample it. Nice and crispy. Oh, it's so hot. It is exceptional. You'll love it. Let us get started on the next Nigerian delicacy. Moi moi is another Nigerian breakfast dish, and it is also made out of beans, but it's a boiled bean cake. One of the ways that we tend to serve it, traditionally speaking, is in a big banana leaf, and then you fold it almost like a samosa. And you can choose to make it as big or as small as you'd like. Generally, the smaller they are, the quicker they cook, and the more tasty they become. And it's one of my favorites because it is so tasty. Oh my goodness. What do we have on the menu next? So now I have two Nigerian snacks in front of me. This is the ubiquitous puff puff. If you haven't heard of puff puff, as they say in my country, you are sleeping on a bicycle. It is the most delightful, the most delightful, the most delightful. How many times did I say that? 3 times, guys. That is how great it is. The most delectable Nigerian snack in the world. It is simply dough, fried dough with some nutmeg and some additional ingredients in there. If I gave you my secrets, I'd have to kill you. There's a thing that we do in Nigeria called owambe, and that is Yoruba for it's over there. But what it actually means is the party. We love to celebrate life in Nigeria, whether you are Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa, or any of the other 250 ethnic tribes in Nigeria. But we always come together every weekend and eat our small chops, and this is the main star of any and every small chop bowl. That's so good, guys. And chin chin is also made from dough, but it's fried a little bit harder, so you'll find that it's incredibly crunchy. That was so good. All right, y'all, what you got for me next? What's up next, y'all? So here we have some suya. That's the traditional Nigerian barbecued beef. You can have it in beef, you can have it in chicken. We generally don't have fish suya, but you can get prawn suya. And this is the dried version of it. It's called kilishi. It's only served, or prepared rather, in the north of Nigeria, but it is incredibly tasty. It's dried beef jerky, I guess is the equivalent in America. Here you will find the star of the show, and this is called yaji. Yaji is made from ground peanuts with some additional spices, but it is always served with raw onions and raw tomatoes. And you can eat it as a sandwich if you'd like with some agege bread, or you can just have it by itself. Let's tuck in. So suya is one of those dishes that we tend to eat after the club. It's one of those hangover foods as well. Shh, don't tell anyone. It's so, so delicious, and you also get your fix of raw vegetables as well while you're at it, one of your 5 a day. All right, guys, on to the next. Allow me to introduce you guys to this wonderful drink called Malt. Now, there are different variations of it. I won't mention the names because they are all branded, but they are all variations of a malt drink. It's kind of sweet, but not too sweet, and it is incredibly filling. So if it's your first time, I would not advise drinking this with food. We do, because in Nigeria, we like to eat a lot of food. So I know it looks like Coca-Cola, it's not. I don't drink Coke, I don't drink any sodas. Malt is the only carbonated drink I probably will ever drink. I'm gonna finish this while we go and check in the kitchen and see what else is on the menu. This is what we refer to as gizdodo. Gizdodo is an amalgamation of two words, gizzard and dodo. Dodo is fried plantain. It is found across West Africa. Gizdodo is about the pepper. It's about the Scotch bonnets, the heat. Then you want the texture of the gizdodo, the firmness of that, of the gizzard rather, and the softness and sweetness of the dodo accompaniment. So let's put that all together on the fork. That was so good and so spicy. But you know what, guys? Playtime's over. Oh yeah? Where's the real food? Let's check it out. Looks like our first main dish is amala with egusi elefo. And egusi itself is made from melon seeds. Yes, the melons that you find in the fruit aisle of the supermarket. Now, amala is made from the elubol flour, which is a type of fermented yam flour. And then you traditionally eat it with a type of soup. So we have a lot of different soups in Nigeria. You can imagine if each tribe has at least 10 soups of their own, how many soups we can get through in one country. I do understand that around the world, soup is traditionally referred to, you know, when you think of like liquid type soups, but in Nigeria and across West Africa, when we talk about soups, we're referring to the thick, viscous liquid that you accompany with your okele. Okele is the generic term for any kind of hand food that resembles a dumpling. So what you're going to do first of all is wash your hands, put it in the soapy water first, and then cleanse it in the clear water. And then you go like this. So 3 fingers, and then form it into a spoon with your fingers. So press your thumb down into the middle, scoop up the soup, pop that into the well that you've created with your okele. In this variation, we're using amala, and put it in your mouth. Have you heard of a rice dish from Nigeria called native rice? Most of the dishes that you'll find us eating today are rooted in Yoruba culture because I am Yoruba, but native rice actually originates from the south of Nigeria. The reason we call it native rice is because it is actually eaten in native villages. So it's not a fancy Nigerian meal. It's not something that you generally find in an upscale restaurant, but it is something that you'll find in every household, and it is just delicious. It does look like jollof rice, reminiscent in color, but you'll find that it has a lot of additional flavors inside and ingredients. We add dried fish to native rice, 3 types of dried fish. So we've added some king prawns in here, as well as the meat. You know what the perfect accompaniment for native rice is? A native drink. Cue palm wine. Now this is called ogogoro in Nigeria, and that translates to moonshine. And it's traditionally tapped from the palm tree. You can have it alcoholic, which will be palm wine, or non-alcoholic, which is palm juice. A few sips of this will have you topsy-turvy. Legend has it that a certain journalist had a few bottles of this prior to interviewing the president of France. And still did pretty well. Literally feel like I've died and gone to heaven. Fisherman's Okra. This is ilasikbo in Yoruba, which means okra that's been mixed together, or stewed okra, okras, as you call them in America. Okra is one of those dishes that we eat across the country. You'll find it from the north of Nigeria to the southern regions. And Nigeria is the most populous Black nation in the world. So you can imagine just how many of us are eating okra at any given time. This type of ila, or okra as we call it, is made with a pepper and broth base, as is the base for most of our delicacies in Nigeria. So you can see the texture of the okra. It's quite, we call it draw soup because it draws like a cheese fondue. And you'll have this with any one of your okeles. Be careful because it's really messy. Delicious. I know I say this about every dish, but clearly this is how good Nigerian food is. So we need to get you guys to try it. This is called Ayamashay. Ayamashay is translated from Yoruba to English and means wife of Mashay. I don't know who Mashay is, but whoever he is, this recipe that he came up with is delightful. So Ayamashay is traditionally made from green bell peppers only. So we serve it with white rice, because the flavors themselves, you don't want to overpower it by serving it with jollof rice or fried rice or native rice. We generally eat it with a little bit of dodo on the side. It accompanies all of our rice dishes because it adds that element of sweetness that you won't find in any of our soups. I'm about to have an experience with this, guys. Let's see what we've got coming up next. Okay, guys, it's the moment you've all been waiting for, I'm sure. Jollof rice! As I'm sure you're all aware, we have been fighting for millennia in West Africa as to who makes the best jollof rice. As a person that has lived in all the competing countries, I'm not gonna say who on camera because it's not my country, and I don't want the Nigerians to come after me. There has been a long-running commentary on jollof rice and whether or not you're supposed to eat it with stew. Now, remember that jollof is effectively a one-pot rice, so it's similar to jambalaya in the south of America. I, when I was growing up, used to eat jollof rice with stew all the time. In Nigeria, if you make the mistake of eating your jollof rice with stew, they will accuse you of having trust issues because jollof rice comes with tomatoes. That's what it's made with. That being said, it's always an option. So if you so choose, please feel free to add some of your tomato-based stew on top of your jollof. I'm probably gonna go and finish this again off camera, but before I go, let's sample one more Nigerian delicacy, shall we? I've chosen to save the very best till last. It is efo riro, which is made from spinach, tomatoes, lots of peppers, and some additional spices. Pounded yam, or ignon, as it's known in Yoruba, is my favorite dish in the world. Hands down, and I'm talking above caviar, above foie gras, above all these so-called five-star delicacies. This combination tops everything. And it is quite literally yam tubers that have been boiled and pounded in a mortar and pestle. Take your okele, dip that in your soup, and then enjoy. I'm going to spend the rest of the day enjoying my favorite Nigerian dish, but hopefully you guys have learned as much as you possibly can about Nigerian cuisine. Now, by no means is this an extensive or exhaustive list of Nigerian food, cuisines, and delicacies, because of course Nigeria is the most populous Black nation in the world. But why don't you guys leave us a comment below and tell us what your favorite Nigerian dish is, and who knows, we might make that next. Bye.